Honey, you're a 10. You don't need to settle for his 6, her mother said about me. So I walked out of the party and never looked back. Now her 10 isolated her, scammed her parents, and she's begging me to save her. Hey viewers, before we move on to the video, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button if you want to see more stories like this. Thanks. I've never been the kind of guy who fills a room when I walk in. I'm the one who stands near the edge of a conversation, smiling, listening more than talking. I don't wear design or anything. I drive a used Civic, and I still pack my lunch for work. It's not glamorous, but it's mine. Every inch of it paid for, earned, and calm. That calm was something I used to think Claire loved. When we met, she said she found my steadiness refreshing. Her last few relationships had been with self-proclaimed entrepreneurs, guys who promised the world and borrowed her rent money to chase it. So when we started dating, she used to joke that being with me felt like finally exhaling. I thought that was a good thing. We'd been together for about 3 years when the cracks started showing. Not between us, at first, but around us. Her parents, especially her mother, Elaine, always treated me like some temporary project. Not openly hostile, just polite in that way people are when they think they're too good to be rude. When I'd come over, Elaine would ask questions like, "So, when do you plan on moving into something bigger?" Or, "Oh, you still work with your hands. That's admirable." Claire would roll her eyes afterward and whisper, "She means well." But there's only so many times you can hear, "She means well," before you realize she doesn't. Still, I kept showing up. Birthdays, barbecues, those long Sunday brunches where her father barely looked up from his phone and her mother narrated every minor success of their relatives like it was national news. I'd sit there, nodding politely, passing dishes, trying to be part of something that never wanted me there. I genuinely loved Claire, though. She had this brightness, social, witty, always knowing how to make people feel like they belonged. Maybe that's why I tried so hard to make her family like me. I thought, if they see how much I care about her, eventually they'll see I'm good enough. There were small moments that should have told me otherwise. Like when we went shopping for her cousin's engagement gift, and she said, "Let's get something nice." My mom's always comparing us to them. Or when she hesitated introducing me to her relatives, as if she was bracing for judgment. Still, I stayed. I'm not a man who runs at discomfort. I fix things. I give people time to come around. So when Claire's mother invited me to their annual summer party, the one with her extended family and business friends, I took it as a good sign. An olive branch. Claire told me on the drive there, "Please just be yourself, okay? Don't overthink it." I smiled. I'm always myself. That's the problem, isn't it? She didn't answer. I brushed it off. Maybe I was being sensitive. We pulled up to their house. 3 stories, all white stone and glass. The kind of place that screams old money pretending to be new. Elaine greeted us at the door, air-kissed Claire, then gave me the kind of smile people save for waiters who bring the wrong order but try their best anyway. "Glad you could make it," she said. "We have some real go-getters here tonight. Maybe you'll make a few connections." I told her I'd do my best, though I wasn't sure what that meant. Inside, everyone looked polished. Expensive watches, loud laughter, people introducing themselves with job titles instead of names. I poured myself a drink and stayed close to Claire, listening, nodding, occasionally adding a word when invited. It was fine for a while. But looking back, that party was never a test I could pass. It wasn't meant to include me. It was meant to remind Claire what she could have if she didn't settle. And that reminder was coming. Sharp, public, and dressed as motherly advice. The night started fine. Predictable, even. Elaine's parties were always the same. White wine, surface-level laughter, and people pretending to enjoy each other's success stories. I stuck to the quieter corner of the patio, chatting with a cousin of Claire's about football, just trying to blend in. Claire was in her element, floating from group to group, smiling that practiced social smile. Every time she laughed, people looked at her like she was a reflection of her parents' success. And me? I was her +1. Background decoration in a borrowed collared shirt. After dinner, the crowd shifted into that comfortable buzz, half drunk, half bored. I was helping stack empty plates when I heard Elaine's voice cut through the chatter. "Claire, darling," she said, clinking her glass for attention. "Come here a moment." Claire hesitated but went. I stayed where I was, setting a plate down, not realizing yet that I was about to be the evening's entertainment. Elaine motioned toward her daughter and said, loud enough for the whole patio, "You really do light up a room, sweetheart. You've always been the beautiful one, the ambitious one. You know, people always say men should date up, but you shouldn't have to settle." There was polite laughter, nervous, confused. I froze, my hand still on the serving tray. Claire tried to deflect, smiling tightly. "Mom, please, don't start." But Elaine wasn't done. She looked at me, then back at her guests, and delivered the line like she'd been saving it for years. "Honey, you're a 10. You don't need to settle for his 6. The laughter died. A few people shifted in their seats. Someone cleared their throat. Claire's father gave the kind of half-smile people give when they want to disappear. I could feel my ears getting hot. Every eye on the patio was suddenly on me. Me, the 6. Claire's face went pale. "Mom, stop." "That's not." Elaine just waved her off, sipping her wine. "I'm just saying what everyone's thinking. You're young, gorgeous, and you've got options. Don't tie yourself down before you see what's out there." Claire didn't defend me. She just stood there, speechless, embarrassed, but not for me. For herself. That was the moment it clicked. Not that Elaine disrespected me. I already knew that. What hit me was that Claire's silence wasn't shock. It was agreement. I looked around at the faces, smug, pitying, entertained. I wasn't angry. I just felt done. Like someone had finally said out loud what I'd been pretending not to feel all along. I set the tray down. The noise faded behind me like someone had turned down the volume. I walked toward the patio steps. Elaine called after me, sounding almost amused. "Oh, don't be so sensitive, dear. It was just a joke." I turned back just enough to meet her eyes. My voice was steady. "You're right, Elaine. Your daughter shouldn't have to settle." And then I looked at Claire. She opened her mouth to speak, but nothing came out. "Congratulations," I said quietly. "You've got your 10. Then I walked through the garden, out the gate, and down the street to where my Civic was parked. The sound of polite conversation behind me started up again, filler noise to bury the awkwardness I'd left behind. I drove home in silence. No music, no calls. Just the sound of tires on asphalt and the faint sting of disbelief fading into something colder. When I parked, I sat for a moment, staring at the steering wheel. I wasn't angry, not in the way I thought I would be. There was no shaking, no urge to yell or text or demand an apology. Just this sharp, clean clarity. I had just been publicly humiliated by people I'd tried to impress for years, and the woman I loved had let it happen. I went inside, opened my phone, and saw 3 missed calls from Claire. Then a message, "Claire, you overreacted." She was joking. "Please don't make this bigger than it is." Another followed a few minutes later. "Claire, you embarrassed me, you know? Everyone's talking about how you stormed off." I read them both, turned off the screen, and placed the phone face down on the counter. That night, I slept better than I had in months. Because for the first time, I wasn't trying to belong where I wasn't wanted. The next morning, I woke up early, showered, and made coffee like it was any other Sunday. But something inside me had clicked into place, something quiet and irreversible. Claire showed up around noon. No text beforehand, just the sound of her key in the lock. I was sitting on the couch, laptop open, pretending to read emails I didn't care about. She stepped inside, looking nervous, but still trying to hold that confident posture she always had. "So that's it. You just walk out of a family event like that and ghost me all night." I didn't look up. "You let your mom humiliate me in front of 20 people. She was drunk," she said quickly. "You know how she gets." I didn't want to make it worse by starting a fight in front of everyone. I shut the laptop. "You didn't have to start a fight. You just had to say she was wrong." She hesitated, the tiniest flicker of guilt, then crossed her arms. "You're overreacting. She was being an idiot, yes, but everyone knows she runs her mouth. You can't just storm out and make me look crazy in front of my family." There it was again. Make me look crazy. Everything was about optics with her. I said nothing, just stared at her until she shifted uncomfortably. "I mean," she added, softer now, "you know she doesn't mean it. She just wants what's best for me." That line landed harder than she expected, because I could tell she actually believed it. I stood up, calm and steady. "You think what's best for you is someone else. That's fine, but you don't get to keep me around as your safe option while your mother shops for upgrades." "Oh my God, that's not what I held up a hand. "Save it. I'm not angry, Claire. I just finally get it. You and I were never in the same relationship. I was building something real, and you were curating an image. She blinked, not used to my voice sounding like that. No pleading, no raised tone, just finality. So what? You're breaking up with me over that? She asked, incredulous. I nodded once. No drama. No long text threads. Just done. You're seriously ending things because of my mother? I met her eyes. Because of your silence. Her mouth opened, then closed again. I walked past her, opened the door, and waited. For a long moment, she didn't move. Then she scoffed, grabbed her purse, and muttered something under her breath. You'll regret this. Not every woman would date a guy like you. I smiled faintly. You're right. Not every woman would. She left, slamming the door behind her. The next few weeks were quiet. My phone stayed silent, except for a few passive-aggressive texts. Hope you're happy. Mom feels awful, you know. You could at least be mature about this. I didn't reply to any of them. I changed my number. Moved into a new apartment. New job, even. One that didn't have me walking on eggshells around people with last names on law firm walls. And slowly, the silence stopped feeling empty. It started feeling peaceful. Claire's world, though? I started hearing pieces of it through mutual acquaintances. She started dating someone new within a month, a guy her mom approved of this time. Smooth talker, worked in finance, drove a Tesla. The kind of man who treated life like an audience. Elaine was thrilled. I saw a photo on social media once. Claire and her new boyfriend smiling at a winery. Her mother tagging them with captions like, "My perfect girl with her perfect man, red heart." I scrolled past it without a second thought. But what struck me most wasn't bitterness. It was clarity. Elaine hadn't humiliated me by accident. She'd done it to test her daughter, to see if she'd stand by me or choose comfort. And Claire had chosen comfort. The 10 her mother wanted. A few months later, I ran into Elaine at the grocery store. She looked surprised to see me. "Oh, you look well." I smiled. "I am. Claire mentioned you've moved on. Good for you." Her tone carried that same superiority, as if my well-being was an interesting footnote. But then she added something that caught my attention. "Between you and me, I think she rushed into her new relationship." "But she's happy." I nodded. "Of course she is. That's what matters, right?" Elaine hesitated, just for a moment. That was the first crack I'd ever seen in her perfect mask. I didn't give her time to respond. I wished her a pleasant day, paid for my groceries, and left. Driving home, I realized something simple. Walking away hadn't just saved me from humiliation. It had saved me from a lifetime of being measured. Measured against wealth, status, presentation, things that meant everything to them and nothing to me. For once, I didn't feel like a 6. I felt like someone who'd finally stopped trying to be rated at all. About 6 months passed before Claire's name crossed my mind again, and it wasn't because I missed her. It was because someone at work brought up her boyfriend, Ethan. Apparently, his investment firm, the one he bragged about to everyone, was being quietly investigated for scamming clients. I didn't ask for details. I didn't even pretend to care. But the irony lingered. The man Elaine called a real 10 turned out to be the kind of guy who measured his self-worth in other people's losses. 2 weeks later, the rumors turned into headlines. I saw the article while scrolling through my phone one night. His name was there, bold and embarrassing, right beside the words fraud, embezzlement, and financial misconduct. And in one of the attached photos, Claire was there, standing beside him, perfectly dressed, smiling for cameras at a charity gala just months earlier. The caption hit differently now. The couple that defined success. Yeah, sure. I didn't feel vindicated, not yet. But something about the quiet symmetry of it all felt earned. The first message came the next morning. "Claire, hey, I know it's been a while, but could we talk?" I ignored it. Then another. "Claire, I wouldn't reach out if it wasn't important. I just really need someone who actually understands me right now." Still nothing. Then a longer one, a full paragraph. "You probably saw what's been happening. It's not what it looks like. I swear, I didn't know about any of it. He lied to me, to my parents, to everyone. I feel like such an idiot. Please, can we just talk for 5 minutes? You were always the only one who really cared." That last line was the hook, the emotional fishing line she'd used before. But this time, I wasn't biting. I didn't block her. I didn't reply. I just left the message unread. Over the next few days, she kept trying. A missed call at 2 a.m. A voice message that started calm but cracked halfway through. I didn't listen to you, and I should have. You were right about everything. He took money from my parents. My mom's panicking. I don't know what to do. I let it sit there. It's strange how silence can say more than any speech. A few weeks later, I saw Elaine again, this time at a cafe. No husband, no friends, no pearls or makeup. Just her, in a plain cardigan, staring blankly into a cup of coffee. When she saw me, she froze. "Oh," she said weakly. "Hi, Daniel." I nodded. "Elaine." There was no smugness in her tone this time. No superiority. Just exhaustion. "You've probably heard," she murmured. "He took everything. My husband's savings, our retirement. Even Claire's accounts. He was using her name for fake investments." I said nothing. "We're dealing with lawyers, police, everything. It's a nightmare." She sighed. "I suppose you must feel vindicated." I took a slow sip of my coffee and said evenly, "No, I just feel lucky." Elaine's jaw tightened. For a moment, she almost looked like she might cry, but pride wouldn't let her. "She's been trying to reach you," she said quietly. "She thinks you could help her. Maybe give her some guidance." I almost laughed at the irony. Guidance from the man she once called a six. "I hope she figures things out," I said, standing to leave. "But I'm not the person she needs to call anymore." "You really won't even speak to her?" I looked her in the eye. "Your daughter and I already had our final conversation. She just didn't realize it." And then I walked away, again. This time, there was no sting, no regret, just peace. 2 nights later, I finally listened to Claire's latest voicemail. Not because I cared, but because curiosity can be cruel sometimes. Her voice was smaller now. "I'm sorry. I really am. I thought I knew what I wanted, but I didn't. He isolated me from everyone, even my friends. I'm staying with my parents right now, but it's bad. Mom's angry all the time. Dad barely talks. I miss how calm everything used to be. You made things feel safe." She paused, then whispered, "Please, Daniel, just say something. Anything." I stared at the phone for a long moment, then deleted the message. Not out of spite, just finality. By then, my life had quietly flourished. The new job turned into a promotion. I'd started seeing someone, Mia, a friend of a coworker, kind and grounded. No games, no mind reading, no measuring. One night, I told her the story, not the dramatic version, just the facts. She listened, smiled softly, and said, "You're lucky you saw who she was before she cost you more." And she was right. Because Claire wasn't the heartbreak of my life, she was the lesson. The lesson that some people don't want love, they want validation. And once they lose their audience, they fall apart. It had been nearly a year since that party. The one where Elaine looked me up and down like a bad Yelp review and said, "Honey, you're a 10. You don't need to settle for his 6. I hadn't spoken to either of them since. In that year, I rebuilt myself brick by brick. New job, new apartment, new calm. And Mia, she wasn't loud or performative. She didn't need to prove anything to anyone. She laughed with her whole face and asked questions that actually waited for answers. She was what peace feels like when it walks into a room. Then one Friday night, my buddy Tom texted, "Heads up, Claire's going to be at Marlowe's tomorrow. Says she wants to see you. She's not in a good place, man. Careful." I stared at the screen for a while, then decided to go anyway. Not to stir anything, but to make sure the ghost of that relationship didn't still own a part of me. The place hadn't changed, still too loud, still pretending to be classier than it was. I was halfway through a drink when I saw her. Claire. Her glow was gone, replaced by stress and that hollow exhaustion you get when life humbles you too fast. She saw me before I could turn away. "Daniel," she said, like she wasn't sure she had the right to use my name. "Claire, you look really good." "I am." We stood there, the silence dragging until she motioned toward a quiet booth. Against my better judgment, I followed. She didn't waste time pretending. "You probably think I deserve everything that happened. I don't think about you much at all." She winced. "He lied to me, Daniel. To everyone. Took money from my parents. Left me with nothing. I feel so stupid." I nodded slightly. "I warned you once that people who talk in numbers eventually treat you like one. You don't have to rub it in." "I'm not. I'm just reminding you how we got here." She looked down at her drink, eyes glossy. "I miss how simple it was with you. How calm. I didn't realize that mattered until it was gone. Still, I said nothing. Would you ever consider us? Starting over. I let the question sit between us like static. Then quietly, no. Just like that. Just like that. Her composure cracked. After everything we had, you can't even think about it? I did. Months ago. That's how I moved on. Her jaw tightened. You've changed. I grew. I stood. Take care of yourself, Claire. She looked up, voice trembling now. She's not better than me, whoever she is. I turned back just enough to say, you're right. She's just better for me. And I walked out. A few weeks later came the real finale. My company hosted a formal charity fundraiser. Suits, champagne, the whole theater of success. I brought Mia. She wore emerald green and looked like someone who didn't need anyone's permission to shine. When we stepped into the ballroom, I noticed familiar faces, including two I never expected. Elaine and Claire. They were standing near the entrance, trying to look composed. Elaine's pearls couldn't hide the exhaustion on her face. Claire's smile looked rehearsed, a performance for whoever was watching. Elaine spotted me first. Daniel, she said stiffly. It's been a while. It has. Mia extended a polite hand. Nice to meet you. Elaine blinked, visibly disarmed by Mia's warmth. You're very lovely, she said, almost out of habit. Mia smiled. Thank you. Daniel's told me you have quite the eye for people. For a split second, Elaine didn't know whether she was being complimented or reminded. Claire looked like she wanted to melt into the floor. So, she asked quietly, how have you been? Good, I said. Better than ever. The silence after that was heavy enough to be honest. Elaine muttered something about getting a drink and walked away. Claire stayed, staring at the floor. You really did move on, she said, almost whispering. I told you I would. She seems kind. She is. You always wanted simple, didn't you? No, I said. I wanted peace. There's a difference. She nodded faintly, tears welling but never falling. I hope you're happy. I am. And there it was, the last truth between us. Later that night, Mia and I stood by the balcony overlooking the city lights. She leaned against my shoulder, content. Claire passed by once more, eyes finding mine from across the room. For a heartbeat, I saw the realization settle in, that I was never the one who wasn't enough. She just didn't know how to recognize enough when she had it. She looked away first. Mia whispered, Do you know her? Used to, I said. That was all. The next morning, I woke to one last message. Seeing you last night made me realize what I lost. I'm sorry for how everything ended. I wish I'd stood up for you. I hope you forgive me someday. I read it once, then deleted it. Not out of anger, not triumph, just peace. Some endings don't need revenge. They need distance. Because sometimes the best thing you can do for someone who tried to measure your worth is become impossible to compare. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. What do you think about this story? Share it in the comments.